I'm Pranay Sharma from S.MONK Institute, and I'll be taking your orientation today. We will be talking about the institutes, we'll be talking about actuarial science as an overall field, and we'll be talking about the subjects, okay, that the course that we'll be covering. At any point, if you feel like, you can unmute yourself and ask any question, or you can write it in the chat. I will be constantly monitoring the chat as well. Okay. So right now we'll take a brief look on what actuarial science is. What is actuarial science? Actuarial science deals with evaluating risk and maintaining the economic stability of insurance or financial organizations. So we work in financial field and we are trying to evaluate risks. How do we do that? So actuaries learn how to use mathematics, statistics, and probability principles to anticipate future events and take preventive measure. At any institute, any field you are working in, our main aim is always going to be predicting what would happen in the future, and actuarial science is one field where you learn how to predict the future. In simple words, actuary mitigate risk in all sense. So we try to figure out what might happen and how to avoid any losses you might incur and take decisions accordingly. Scope of actuarial profession. Now the first main field where actuaries work is insurance. Okay, so insurance is the biggest field where actuaries work. The insurance, there's a wide variety of insurances. You may have life insurance. Even in life insurance, you have single life insurance, you have joint life insurance, you have pensions, you have many other fields where which comes into the category of life insurance. Then we have general insurance. General insurance is much wider. You might see health insurance, you might see house insurance, you might see car insurance, two-wheeler vehicle insurance, marine insurance. All of this come into general insurance. Rather, anything that is not related to life will come into general insurance. Then we have financial institutions. In financial institutions, there is asset management, there is liability management. Both of these deal with what would be the future cash flows or future assets or liabilities, and how much money you might have to pay in the future. Accordingly, you have to manage how much money you have today. That would be called as asset management and liability management. Then we have mergers and acquisitions. So when two big companies try to buy each other out or merge, okay, then you have to figure out how much value do you put in one company or the other. Okay. In last year, you might have heard that Elon Musk bought Twitter. Okay. So how did he value that company? Although I don't think he used any actuarial or any financial advisor to figure out the value, he just bought it on a limb. But when two companies merge, you might have heard about Vodafone and Idea. I think in 2021 they both merged. So they have to figure out how much the company is contributing today and also how much they might contribute in the future. Accordingly, they'll have to value each other's contribution. That calculation is again done by actuaries. Then we have enterprise risk management. Similar things like we talked about how much value a particular company is bringing, not only in terms of asset, but in future, uh, you know, uh, assets or liabilities or everything. That calculations for a particular company would be the enterprise risk management. Then we have investment. In investment, there is portfolio management. So portfolio management, let's say that you have a lot of money and you want to invest somewhere. Okay. So one place would be stock market, but stock market is very risky and you might not have a lot of time to basically study the stock market every single day. So you might hire somebody else to manage your portfolio. They'll buy different stocks accordingly, trying to figure out how much risky each stock is. That would be called as portfolio management. That can be done for a company, that can be done for individuals. Okay, usually when we say portfolio management, we are talking about a company. And we have financial modeling. Every company has to figure out how do they invest. It may be a bank, it may be let's say mobile company, it may be something else. So they might have a lot of money today, out of which some money they will require today, but some money they'll require in the future. So they have to invest that money so that it is also earning money for them. So different types of company will require different ways of investment. That would be called as financial modeling. Now in recent days you might have heard about the news about few banks shutting down in America. One of the banks was called was it SV Bank, right? So that the biggest problem, it's not that they the bank shut down not because they did not have money. They had money. The problem was they did not invest it properly. Okay. Yes, Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, these were the two banks that shut down. Now the Silicon Valley Bank was a what do we say, a bank for what do we call it, the fresher companies, what are they called? Just the name is startups. Yes, of course. So the bank was for startup companies. It was not specifically for startup companies, but it incentivized people, the startup companies, to invest or put money in their bank. So they gave them higher rate of interest. So the bank started knowing as a bank for startup companies. So in 2020, SV Bank did a lot of business because they were providing slightly higher rate of interest than any other banks. And startups, when they get funded, they have a lot of money at the beginning that they don't immediately require. So they put in that money with the bank so that they would earn interest on it. Now, because in 2020, SV Bank did a lot of business because they were providing slightly higher rate of interest than the other banks, and startups have a lot of cash at the beginning, so they had a lot of money. Now, the banks will also invest somewhere so that they are earning interest, correct? That is how they would provide interest. One of the big ways banks earn money is through loans, but that is not, they cannot give 100% of the money in loans. So the governments incentivize them to put certain amount of money in what is called as a government bond. Okay, so if I'm talking about any government bond, usually what happens is government says, give me money today, and after certain number of years, I will return you certain amount of money. So let's say today you gave them 100 rupees. After let's say 10 years, they will return you, let's say 120 rupees. So that is called as a government bond. That is a promise given by the government that we will give you your money back plus interest, right? So this is what the SV Bank put their majority of the money in, that is 10-year US government bonds. Now in our first subject, that is CM1, we study that when you have a short-term liability, a bank has a short-term liability because at any given moment their customers can ask their money back. So they have very short-term liability, but they invested in a 10-year bond. That would be a long-term liability. Okay. So this is not a very good portfolio management, or their, you might say, modeling, investment modeling that they have done here. So what they did was they invested in long-term bonds when their liabilities are actually short-term. So that was still fine, okay, because you do not expect all of the companies to ask for their money as soon as possible. Now what happened was in 2022, as the economy started growing and inflation increasing in different countries, what happened was the rate of interest, that is called as repo rate. Repo rate is nothing but the minimum rate of interest that a government bond would offer. So from what I remember, in 2020, the repo rate was down to about 3% in US. Okay. So what happens if the minimum rate of interest that the government is offering is low, like 3% here, then the banks would offer in loans at a lower rate of interest. So in 2020, all over the world, governments wanted that people should have more money, so they should take loans. That is why they decreased this repo rate. But that also means that investment returns goes low. Okay. So this repo rate was 3%. So that is why loans were a little bit cheaper, so people could take more loans. At this rate of interest, SV Bank invested for 10 years. Now due to inflation in 2022, what is happening is the governments are increasing the repo rate so that again people should take less loans. Okay. So if people have less money with them, automatically they will buy less stuff. If they are buying less stuff, that means demand goes down, and if demand is going down, automatically prices will come down. That is the main reason why government is increasing the repo rate. Right now I think repo rate is about 6% in US. India is also increasing their repo rate. Okay. So what happened is, if the repo rate is 6%, that means if you buy this bond today, okay, if you buy this bond today, new bond, then the government is offering you 6% instead of 3%. Okay. So SV Bank invested most of their money in the bond that was providing them 3% returns. But now today, if anybody wants to buy similar kind of bond, government is offering them 6% returns in 2022. So automatically, if by any chance I want money, SV Bank wants money and would like to sell this bond, they would have to sell it at a loss. Okay. Because if let's say the government was offering the same rate of interest, 3%, today, as well as the bond that was bought by SV Bank, so then they would say either I buy the bond from government or I buy the bond from SV Bank, I am getting the same interest. So that is fine, no problem. But if now the government is offering me much higher returns, why would I buy from SV Bank? So if SV Bank wants money, they would have to sell this bond at a loss. And that is what happened. Again, up to this point, there has been no issues because SV Bank does not require this money right now. Another thing that happened in 2022 is because of the anticipation of inflation, people stopped investing in new startup companies. Okay. So the new funding that the startup companies were getting started becoming lower and lower and lower. So the money that they had in the bank, they now require that to actually do their daily work. So they started asking the SV Bank for their money back. Now, if let's say one startup company takes out money, let's say, $50 million, that's a big amount. SV Bank may not have all of the $50 million ready in their bank account. So they have to sell some of the bonds that they bought 2 years ago. And because now the repo rate is much higher, they have to sell it at a loss. So they might have to sell it at 80 rupees per 100 rupees that they had bought this bond for. That is what happened. They sold a few bonds at a loss. And people saw that. People said, why would a bank sell at a loss? That means they don't have money with them. So what if I had put my money in the bank? I would say, okay, the bank does not seem to have money. They are selling their bonds at a loss. That means I may lose my money. Let's take out my money. So as soon as people saw that bank is selling the bond at loss, they realized that I may lose my money, and they started taking out their money. The investors in SV Bank started taking out their money, thinking the bank is going to go at a loss. I will lose my money. So the people that put money in the bank for investment and also for the safekeeping part, everybody started taking out their money. And then SV Bank had to sell more of those bonds at a loss. And as soon as that started happening, people started realizing it started creating a chain reaction. People started taking out their money. They had to sell more bonds for at loss. And looking at that, people started again pulling out more money. So eventually SV Bank did not have any more money to give. That was the problem because they sold everything at a loss. Okay, so that is why they had to shut down. Similar thing happened with the Signature Bank. Okay, now only if they relied on the simple concepts, there is something called as Reddington's laws of immunization. Now that is taught in our first subject in actuarial science. The first subject, we talk about it as CM1. Okay, we teach that while you are investing, you cannot just look at how much money I can get. You have to take into account when I might have to pay the money. There is liabilities, how much liabilities I may have. Okay, and accordingly we make our investments. So if they would have followed the simple rules of investment, they would not have been in such a condition today. That is what is called as financial modeling. We learn financial modeling, how to invest. And we have data science. Now data science is one of the most fastest growing field today because everybody is working online and you are creating so much data every single day. When you see social media, when you go to Google to search anything, what we are working with is data. Okay, so now how to manage data, analyze it, and figure out what to do with it is part of data science. Actuaries also work in data science. And we have banking. In banking, there are a lot of things that actuaries work with. One is credit rating, card frauds, other kinds of frauds. To detect frauds, to detect credit rating, you need to figure out what the future payments might be. Again, actuarial professionals come into play. Now, how to start your actuarial journey? There are two institutes. One is IFOA and the other is IAI. IFOA is Institute and Faculty of Actuaries UK. So it's an UK based institute, and the other is Institute of Actuaries of India. Both of these institutes conduct their examination in India, and both are very well recognized by the companies that provide you jobs here. So whichever institute you choose in India, you will have no problem in getting jobs. Now, IFOA is conducting online examination, and there is no future plans of going back to offline. They'll be continuing with online examinations. IAI has now started offline examination from last year. Okay, so this is the main big difference, that IFOA examinations are conducted online and IAI examinations are conducted offline. Then other than that, you have some inclusion of softwares. You have Excel as well as R that you have to study in both of these institutes. Now let's talk about the course. Now both of these have 13 papers that are divided into 4 groups. Both Indian Institute as well as UK Institute course is exactly same. Rather, Indian Institute follows the same course pattern of the UK Institute. Even the books are exactly same. So there are 4 groups. First is core principle containing 7 papers. Then we have core practices, 3 papers. After you have completed these 10 papers, you get a degree called as Associate Actuary degree. You are expected to complete at least 1 year of work experience by this time. Then you come up to specialist principle, where you have options. You have to give any 2 papers out of option of 9. Then last paper, again you have option of 6 papers, that is specialist advance. Okay. So associate actuary degree is similar to a bachelor's degree. Okay. And the specialist is similar to master's course. And after you have completed the specialist advance and you have had 3 years of work experience, you are called as a fellow actuary. Okay, that is the main actuary degree. So we have 2 actuarial degrees. One is associate actuary, the second is fellow actuary. Now, core principles, the 7 subjects that we were talking about. We have 2 mathematics subjects. We have CM1, CM2. We have 2 statistics subjects, CS1, CS2. And we have 3 business related subjects. We have CB1, CB2, CB3. Now CM1, CM2, actually all of these 4 papers contains 2 papers each. We have part A and part B. So in 2 mathematics paper, you have 100 marks written paper as well as 100 marks Excel based exam. So in both of these, you have 2 papers. Similarly, in both of these, you have 2 papers. You have 100 marks written examination and 100 marks R-based examination. R is a software that is used for statistical purposes. So whatever we are going to learn in these subjects, we will learn how to apply them in that R software. Same way, whatever we learn in these mathematical subjects, we learn how to apply them in Excel. Now, usually we start with the first subject as CM1, that is the core mathematics, but you can also start with CS1, that is core statistics. Okay. This is the first basic mathematics subject. It contains financial mathematics and life insurance. Or you can start with CS1, that is going to be the core statistics, that is from the very basic statistics you learn the analytical tools required for analysis, okay, or for statistical analysis. Then CM2 contains the investment information in subjects of investment, and CS2 is called as statistical modeling. Okay, so we talked a little bit about financial modeling. We learn how do we make those models in CS2. And we have CB1. CB1 is basically accounting. CB2 is economics. These are, and CB3 is a practical style business game, subject. We don't really need to study, CB3. They give you like a 50-page book, out of which you have to answer questions. So you can do it yourself. Then even this CB1 accounting, if you are from financial background, if you are studying accounts in your first year, second year, you most likely you will be able to understand the 90% of the course yourself. In CB2 economics, if you have studied 11th 12th economics, then 70% of the course is exactly same. So usually for a commerce student, CB1 and CB2 are not very difficult. And from the point of view of job, these are also said to be as a filler papers, because we do not give so much attention to these papers. We give mostly attention to these papers. So anyways, we'll talk about that later. After your core principles, you have core practices, in which you have CP1. There are 2 written examination of 100 marks each. CP2, you have 2 software based examinations. Okay, please try not to mute me. Okay, somehow my mic got muted. Okay, so CP2, 2 software based examinations of 100 marks each. And then CP3 is again practical exam, communication. It is very simple examination. So these are the 10 papers, after which you will get associate actuary degree. Okay. Usually by the time you complete your graduation, you would most likely complete either 4 or 6 of these subjects. Okay. And based on these subjects, you will start working in any of the insurance company or the investment companies. So these 4 are the main subjects that the companies require. Okay. So usually when it comes to an life insurance company, a starting job would require knowledge of CM1 as well as CS1. If you are working in an investment company, they would ask you to complete CM1, CM2 as well as CS1. If you want to work in a general insurance company, they would require CS2. So usually CM1, CS1 and CS2 are the compulsory subjects. So if you have completed these 4 subjects by the time you graduate, you are sure to land any of the jobs, or all of the jobs, fresher jobs are available for you to grab. So by the time you complete your core practices, you would definitely have more than 1 year of experience. And when you complete all of this CP3, CP1, CP2, CP3, you would get associate actuary degree. Then we come up to specialist principles. This is like masters. Okay, so you have different subjects. Depending on which field you are working in, you would choose your subjects. So for life insurance, you have life insurance pension. For health insurance, you have healthcare. General insurance, you have different subjects. Then for investment, you have different subjects. Okay. So depending on which field you are working in, you would choose the subjects. You will choose any two of these. And then for your last subjects, we have specialist, advanced. Again, you have choice. Depending on your field, you would choose one subject out of this. After you have completed all 13 papers, plus you have had 3 years of work experience, you would be called as a fellow actuary. Now we'll talk a little bit about the institutes. So first, UK Institute, that is IFOA. UK based institute, is recognized in over 100 countries. Actually, they used to take examination in over 100 countries when the examination was offline. Now the examination is online, so you can give from any country where there is internet available. You can give examination from anywhere in the world. And if you are going for a work, literally anywhere you go in the whole world, if there is a vacancy of actuarial capacity, they would accept IFOA degree. Okay. There is no entrance examination. You can start directly by giving either CM1 paper or CS1 paper. Okay. Exams are held every April and September. From 15th April, this session's examination are starting. We call it as a diet. So every year there are 2 diets. All the examinations are conducted in each diet. So whichever examination you choose, you can give any time, or you have option of giving 2 times a year. Maximum 3 subjects per attempt. This used to be a requirement, but they have removed it. You can give any number of subjects in one attempt. That means in April, if you want, you can give all 13 papers, but of course nobody would be able to study for all of the papers, right? So we always recommend, especially when you are studying something else, like you are in college or you are working, we always recommend that each attempt give only 1 paper at the beginning. Then depending on your own knowledge, how much you can study, how much the subject is difficult, you can give multiple papers later on. But at the beginning, I would always suggest give only 1 paper at a time. The fee structure. Now, there are 2 types of fees when it comes to IFOA Institute. Okay, one is called as reduced rate fees. The other is full fees. So I'm only talking about reduced rate fees here because everybody most likely come into this category where your personal income is less than 7,230 pounds. If you convert it into rupees, it will come out to be about 7 lakh rupees. So your personal income, not your parents' income, not your family income, it is going to be your personal income. So most likely majority people here are studying, so they don't have income, so that is fine. So you will be applicable for reduced rate fees. Okay, so now what are the fees? Membership fees is 208 pounds. Now all of these fees I am talking about in pounds. Approximately just put 2 zeros, that is usually the fees, because the conversion rate is above almost 100. I'll just check right now. If you are trying to figure out the conversion rate, GBP, that is Great Britain pound, is the is this pound that we are talking about. So right now the GBP or the Great Britain pound is 101.78 Indian rupees. Okay, so it's more than 100 rupees right now. Okay, so membership fees 2008 pounds. It would be almost, or actually more than 20,000, about 21,000 rupees. This you have to pay once. When you register for membership, you would have to pay this once. Okay. Then every year you have an annual fees of 73 pounds. They take this annual fees every October. So even if you take membership on let's say 31st September, on 1st October you will be eligible to pay the annual fees. Okay, so what can we do about it, how to give, when to register for the membership and stuff, we'll talk about that later. But this annual fees is due every 1st October. Okay. Then for examination you will have to pay about 180 pounds per subject. So for the first 4 subjects, that is CM1, CM2, CS1, CS2, the fees for the subject is 180 pounds per subject. For the examination is 180 pounds per subject. For CB1, CB2, the rate is less. It is 135 pounds per subject. Okay. So usually you have to worry about only these subjects. By this time, after completing these subjects, most likely you would have started working, and almost every company, they pay for the fees for your examination. Usually any and all insurance company have very good study policy. That means they give you time to study for your examination. They give you money for not only the fees of the examination, but also after you complete a paper, they give you increment in your salary. This is usually what the companies do. Okay, depends on company how much money you might get, but that is again company policy. Usually company policy in actuarial science, because you are working as well as studying, usually after you have completed 4 or 6 papers. In IAI, we have India-based institute. This institute takes examination only in India, and if we talk about degrees, it is recognized in most countries around India. So if you are working only in India or around India, then IAI is a very good institute. Okay, Harsh, you are asking, I joined the meeting a few minutes back, so I just wanted to ask, have you already discussed the IAI fee structure? No, I will be discussing it now. Okay, IAI fee structure, I'll be discussing it now. So in IAI, you have to give ACET entrance examination. So the name of the entrance examination is called ACET. ACET. Now this ACET examination, okay, now normal papers are held every May and December. ACET is held 3 times a year. Right now, if you just search okay, if you just Google search ACET IAI, here you will get all information about ACET. So this is the Actuaries India, okay, actuariesindia.org. This is the IAI website. If you want to search anything on UK Institute also, you can just search IFOA. Okay, if you just search IFOA, enter, this is the website, that is actuaries.org.uk. that is the website for IFOA or the UK Institute. Okay, you can go through their website. So here learn and or okay, so every few years they change a little bit of the website, so you'll have to navigate and figure out where stuff is. Okay, so I think qualify, yeah, in this qualify you have all the information about what we require to become an actuary. Here you can see a lot of information. IAI, same, you can just search IAI or ASET IAI. You can see here, this is the website. So here they are talking about the ASET examination. Other than that, if you see here, become an actuary, what's an actuary, what does an actuary do, and so on. So ASET, non-ASET. So you can get exemption in ASET examination if you are a graduate. Not all graduates, graduate with mathematical background. So they have given which particular graduate degrees will be required for ASET exemption. So you can go here and figure it out. Other than that, you have actuarial education. Okay. Then actuarial studies. Here they are talking about examinations, syllabus, dates, and everything. ASET examination, exam dates. So now ASET examination in 2023, they are conducting it 3 times. We have March 2023. Okay, of course it has now already been held. Then June 2023 would be the next examination, for which registration is still on. You can register here for the examination, and there is December 2023 examination. Now, other than that, the regular examination, all the 13 papers that we were talking about, is held every May and December. In those attempts, you can give maximum 3 subjects per attempt. Now, the entrance examination, ASET examination, is MCQ based 100 marks online examination. You have to give it in centers, so you have to go to the centers that are provided by the institute and give the examination there. The result is valid for 3 years. Passing marks is 50 and the fees is 3,000 for ASET. Okay, so you are asking max 3 subject per attempt also mandatory in IAI. Yes, in IAI maximum 3 subjects can be given in one attempt. That means in one sitting you can give maximum of 3 papers. That means, let's say if you are giving paper in this May examination, you could select any 3 subjects. You cannot select more than 3 subjects to give the examination. As I said, it is very far-fetched. Nobody gives 3 examinations in one attempt. Okay, it is usually 1 or maximum 2. Then the course of ASET, we have 30 marks mathematics, 30 marks statistics, 15 marks English, 15 marks data interpretation, then 10 marks logical reasoning. This is how the course of ASET has been defined. Then other than ASET, the fee structure of Indian Institute. Okay, Kashvi, you are asking, is it compulsory to have mathematics as a subject in the 11th and the 12th for IFOA? No, there is no compulsion of subjects. Rather, even if you have not completed your 12th standard, you can give examination from IFOA Institute. Okay. So even 12th standard is not required, and of course no mathematics, but you do require the knowledge of mathematics of 11th and 12th. Okay, so if you have not studied mathematics in 11th 12th, you will have to study it, and not everything, but the topics that will be required in the examination or the future subjects. So membership for Indian Institute is 4,000 and annual fees is 2,000. Okay. This may have slightly changed this year. I am not exactly same. This was last year. May have changed slightly this year. Okay. The subject examination fees is 5,000 per subject for CM and CS level. So for the first 4 subjects, these are the fees. And for CB 1 and 2, it is 3,000 per subject. But other than that, you have to also buy material from the institute itself. That is compulsory. So before giving the examination, you have to buy the material also. So the material cost you should also count in the examination cost. So CM1 and CS2, it costs 8,000, CS1, CM2, 6,500, CB1 and 2, 5,000. Okay. So you might say that examination is costing 5,000 plus let's say 8,000. Okay. So around 13,000 per subject. Okay, Harsh, you're asking if I have done my bachelor's in commerce, but it takes me 3 years to clear all 7 core principal examinations, then will I have to give a set again to continue giving the remaining exams? See, 7 core principles, you cannot give those core principal examinations if you have not given a set. Right?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I am saying that you told us that ASET is only for 3 years. So, sir, actually, I'm doing
No.
my
It is, see, its result is valid for 3 years. That means,
yes, sir, yes, sir.
let's
Sir,
say you, yeah, I'll explain. If you give the ASET examination today, that is whatever May examination, and you don't take membership, you realize that I don't want to do actuarial science, but 2 years from now you come and you say, okay, I want to continue with actuarial science, and then you take the membership.
okay, sir. So actually, I have cleared my ASET in the March exam only. So I have applied for the membership, given the 4,000 rupees. Sir, but it's still processing my form. Sir, I don't have to give ASET ever again?
No. You don't have to give ASET ever again. Okay. So once
Okay,
you have
sir.
become a member, even if let's say after 3 years or 4 years, you take a break and do not give examination for next 2 years or so, you do not pay the fees. Okay, for those examinations, for those years,
Yes,
still
sir.
your membership will be valid. When you start paying the membership fees and annual fees, they'll charge you a little bit extra because you lapsed for certain number of years.
So actually, everywhere it says that it is eligible for 3 years only.
No,
So I
no,
thought that after 3 years I have to give it again.
no. See, if you do not take the membership within those 3 years, then you have to give the ASET examination again.
And sir, how much time do they need to process the form? Because it's been around 3 to 4 days, and every time it says that it's still processing.
It takes about 3 to 4 weeks. Okay, so don't worry.
Oh,
It takes about a month to process. It will take less than that. Usually, when there is a lot of, what do we say, applications, then it goes up to 3 weeks to 4 weeks. But usually, it takes about 2 weeks. Okay, so don't worry, it will be done.
okay, sir. Thank you.
So, Greg, you are asking for IAI, if we enroll for subject, then study material need to be purchased. Do we need to order the study material again for the second attempt in case if not passed in the first attempt? No. So see, what happens is these study materials you will get, you don't get physical copies. You had an option of physical. Okay, I think now they have let me just confirm it. Now I think they have option of physical copies as well. So you have two options. You get either a physical copy or a digital copy. Okay. So you have to purchase the material one time only. You don't have to purchase the material again unless they change the course. If they change the course in between, they will be then asking you to purchase the material again. But they are not planning to change the course in next, let's say, 2-3 years. Right now there is no such announcement. So if you buy material, let's say today for CM1, okay, because you are planning to give examination in December, so that material you don't have to buy again. Even if you are giving the examination, let's say after December you do not clear and then you are giving next May, you don't have to buy the material again. Okay, so you have to buy the material only once. Then what is the passing criteria of IAI? For IAI, they have fixed the passing marks to 50, but for IFOA, it is variable passing marks. So it usually varies from 50 marks to 60 marks depending on how difficult the paper was. Usually the passing mark is about 52, okay, but we have seen passing marks as high as 58 as well. It varies according to the difficulty of the paper. Which institute do you recommend? See, if you want a safe bet, I would always recommend IFOA for a few reasons. First reason is that it is recognized all over the world. Even if, let's say, after 2 years you decide to give go outside for your master's degree or something, you can give examination from anywhere in the world. And when you are working, you if you decide to work in Germany or in South Africa, Australia, or in all of these countries, you will find that IFOA degree would be very well accepted. Indian degrees, some companies accept, some companies do not, so that becomes a problem. And India, IAI takes examination only in India. So by any chance, if you go for masters in US or Germany or UK, wherever, for giving the examination you'll have to come back to India, because India IAI do not conduct examination anywhere else. Okay. Other than that, usually IFOA papers are a little bit simpler, okay, much easier compared to IAI, but then you have an advantage that in IAI you have written paper, offline paper, and in IFOA you have online. You have to type your examination in Word. So for IFOA is the fees which you said was including the material cost. Now see, in IFOA you don't need to buy the material. Okay, so what happens is that the material is available with us. The material is available online through Telegram groups and stuff. Okay, although it is not technically legal to share material on these kind of groups and stuff, but there are available materials. So you don't need to buy IFOA material because it's the same books. How to take membership? Like after ASET, what is the procedure? After ASET, you will find that you will have to you will get an email after you have completed your ASET. You will get an email of how you can get the membership. You will have some form to fill. Qualify, change name. I don't think there is direct. I cannot show you here. So you will get an email and you will have to follow the instructions there. There are no instructions here. You can go to FAQ, this frequently asked questions here, and there are a lot of questions that have been answered here itself. Mode of examination. Somewhere here you will find about after the ASET examination as well. Okay. Is it a good idea to pursue CA and actuarial together? Actually, no. See, both CA as well as actuarial, actuaries work in financial world, but they are totally two different worlds. So there is almost nothing common in a CA and an actuary when it comes to working. So either you will be working as a CA in a company or you would be working as an actuary in a company. There is almost no position that will require the qualification of both. But if you are pursuing CA and actuary, well and good, you will have to study a lot although, but it would be your choice. It will not be an advantage. Okay. Now CS1 and CM1 exam conducted by IAI is written examination or computer based. So see, for CM1 and CM2, you have two examinations. So one would be 100 marks written and 100 marks Excel. So 100 marks written would be on pen and paper and 100 marks Excel will be on computer. Similarly, for CS1 and CS2, you have 100 written and 100 marks R programming. Again, 100 marks written on pen and paper and 100 marks on R programming, that would be on computer. Okay. Then which subject you suggest to start with, CM1 or CS1? I always suggest CM1 because this is closer to what you study in actuary. You will understand because we will be studying life insurance here. So this gives you an idea about what you would be working with in the future. And secondly, it's a lengthier subject compared to CS1 because CM1 has 28 chapters versus CS1 has 15 chapters. Okay. So you are studying much more in CM1, and if you are starting early, see what happens is, right now I will always say CM1. If you come to me in mid-May, I will suggest CS1 because you will not have a lot of time then for CM1. It takes about 5 months to study CM1 properly. It takes about 4 months to study CS1 properly. Okay. So I've heard people opting for dummy college while doing actuarial science. Is it okay if we go for some good college where while doing actuarial science? Actually, it is always recommended that you go for good colleges. Okay, it's not for actuaries but for any profession, because what happens is, see, dummy colleges, that means you are saying where you don't have to go for the classes, right? So there is an advantage for that because you have more time to study. But if you are regularly going to college, see, if your college is taking 7 hours 8 hours daily, do not go for that kind of college. But if you are going for 2-3 hours every day for 5 days a week, you will not only build your personality, but you will gain a lot of knowledge in college other than just actuaries. Okay, so in your later on life it will always be helpful. Okay, so other than that, what happens is, right now college degree do not matter when it comes to getting job in actuarial science. But let's say 5 years from now, when there will be more competition, they might be looking at your college degree as well, then that might matter. Okay, but you right now you don't have to worry about the college degree when it comes to getting jobs in actuarial science. Okay, so I'm not expecting that to become a norm for at least 5 to 7 years from now. Okay, so you don't have to worry about it. So choose a college that has minimum requirement of going to the college, that conducts regular lectures and has good curriculum, and as well as co-curriculum activities and everything. It will help you in your own personal development as well. are the books and the studies same for both institute? Yes. So Indian Institute IAI takes the book from IFOA Institute itself. So they are exactly the same. If you feel a bit rusty, is it okay to start by giving CB1 and CB2 to get actuarial internship jobs for higher chances? See, first of all, in India, you will not get internships or jobs unless you are a graduate. So if you are right now giving, in your college and are not a graduate, then I would suggest work on your mathematics first, then start with CM1, CS1. Of course, you can start with CB1, CB2, no problem. Especially if you are from the commerce background and you already have the knowledge. But for the job perspective, those do not provide any addition. So as I said, most of the companies would ask you to have completed CM1 and CS1. Usually companies would say that you should have 4 papers cleared, CM1, CS1 compulsory. So for the other two, you can have CB1 and CB2 as your filler papers. We usually call them as fillers, because no company would ask you to compulsorily complete these papers, but they may act as fillers for number of papers cleared. Okay. So there are some companies that do not require any papers. So even if you have just started your actuarial journey, you already are graduate, then you may get those kind of jobs as well, but they are rare, right? So only very few companies offer such kind of jobs. Okay. So in that case, yes, you can start with CB1, CB2, you will get those kind of jobs. So I have given ACET examination and I have also given membership fees, and now I want to do it with IFOA, then there will be no problem in going ahead. No problem. You can give examination from both institutes. It's up to you. Okay. There's no problem. You can continue with 2 institutes. Rather, I am a member of both institute, IFOA as well as IAI. I give examinations from IFOA only, but I have membership of IAI also. Because it used to be advantageous to have both membership a few years back. Now there is no advantage. Is AI going to help actuary or replace? Okay, I had a very good conversation few days back with a student for in the same, you can say, context about ChatGPT, whether it would be replacing actuarial jobs. See, it would not be replacing any professional job. Forget about actuaries. It will not be replacing any professional jobs. See, I gave a simple example to conclude. I said, do you think any mathematicians lost their job because calculators were invented, or today like computers are doing the mathematic calculations very fast? Do you think, did they replace any mathematicians? They did not. They always help. So these are tools that will help you do your work much faster. Okay, so your work may change, but AI or computer will not be replacing any professionals. They may replace very small level of jobs. Okay, so like very menial IT work, that may be replaced, but a professional CA, actuary, CFA, these kind of professional jobs, you will not be able to replace it anytime soon. So today artificial intelligence was in high growth and also in development, but what if in future the AI takes same answer, right? So see, what happens is these kind of developments will definitely change your work. Okay, so less than 15 years ago or maybe even 10 years ago, very less number of people had access to good computers. Okay, today you have computers that can do calculation, billions of calculation within milliseconds, not even seconds, milliseconds. Okay, so that helps us a lot. Okay, and that changes the way you can do the work. A lot of handwork or paperwork has now converted into directly computer doing that work. So it has changed the way people have worked, but it has not replaced them. Okay, same thing with AI. It will help, but it will not replace. Is it worth doing a master's degree if one is pursuing actuarial science? See, master's degree, knowledge will never hurt. Knowledge will always help. See, there are many kinds of job in actuarial work. There are something called as core statistical jobs. In every company, somebody is working on making models. Okay, so those models are going to be used by somebody else. Both are actuarial jobs. Okay, but that core jobs, core statistical jobs, for that they require the very high knowledge of statistics. That is usually in masters. So if you are going for masters in statistics, yes, that is a very good option. If you are going for MBA in finance, yes, that is a very good option, because these kind of fields will help you in your job in the future. Okay. MA economics. See, economics, we don't really work a lot in economics. Yes, there are a few jobs where economics is the point of view, but the number of jobs are less. So especially in India, especially economics is handled by government. Okay, so if you're going for a government job, yes, it will be helpful. Otherwise, it is a good knowledge to have because we are working in financial field, but it's less useful. What is the difference between actuarial science and BSc in actuarial science? Okay, so in India, there is no college that provides you BSc or MSc in actuarial science that will get you a job. That is the hard reality. The courses are not recognized by the companies. So the problem is, you can complete BSc, you can complete your MSc, but you will not get jobs in the companies because they feel like they cannot judge the level of the studies in every college. So they say you should complete the papers from either IAI or from IFOA Institute. Okay. So if you are doing BSc in actuarial science, you will be studying the same things, and but you have to give these examinations from IFOA or from IAI to make sure that you get a job later on. In investment field, which is better option, either actuarial science or CFA? So see, CFA is another very good option if you are going for investment. The problem is there is no standardization in India. So if a investment company is created by an actuary, they would always hire an actuary. If investment company is basically run by a CFA, then they will always hire a CFA. If an investment company is run by an MBA finance person, they will always hire MBA finance. Okay, that's the reality today in the industry. So depending on what where you are supposed to work, which company, there will be an advantage and a disadvantage. In outside India, CFA most likely will get you a good job. Second is actuary, in investment, and third would be MBA finance. Although in MBA finance you don't study statistics, still investment people, if they are MBA, they would prefer another MBA. Okay. How to prepare for R programming exam by self-study? So see, you will have to learn R programming first, the basics. You will have a lot of videos in YouTube, other places. You can search for R programming for data science or R programming for actuarial science. Okay, and then from the book. So in the book, in every chapter, they have explained how do we apply stuff in R programming. So there are some codes written. then there is something called as PBOR. Okay, I don't know what's the full form of that, but that is the practice questions. Okay, so that is the practice questions for your R programming. You'll have to find those, solve those to understand how the exam, how do you apply the concepts. And then finally you have past papers. Past papers are the most important. You should always solve past papers, especially for R programming and Excel. Which bachelor's degree should one pursue along with actuarial science? See, first of all, there is no restriction on any kind of degree for your jobs. Usually people go for finance. Okay, so finance, in that you can have BCom, BBA, BMS, BFM, whatever. Okay, any kind of finance degree would be fine. Usually what happens is you are working in finance industry, so people go for finance degree. That's fine. Okay, then you can have MSc. If you are going for MSc statistics or MSc mathematics. This helps. So for core jobs, they would MSc BSc. Okay, I'm talking about BSc right now. BSc. Okay, so these will help in getting some core jobs. So few jobs are specifically, they say, they never say requirement, they always say would be preferred. So a BSc statistics or BSc mathematics student would be preferred. That is how they write. Okay, so that is also good. Other than that, also you can choose any graduation. You can be a BTech, that is engineering. You can be BA arts, does not matter. Any graduation, if you have completed a certain number of actuarial papers, you will be eligible for the job. Okay, but these are the main ones people choose. What is necessary computer language which should we should learn future to get easily understanding? Okay, so computer languages, we will always be using MS Office. So MS Office, we use Word, we use Excel for our examination itself. Then there is R programming. R programming is taught with our course. That much is fine, but if you want to learn more, you should learn. Then you have Python. Python is one language that is used in statistics a lot. Is either R programming or Python would be required for your statistical jobs. Okay. Then you have SQL. Okay. Then you have Visual Basic. These are the few softwares. There are many more, but there is Prophet. I think PHET. There are many softwares, but these are the basics. So you definitely require MS Office. R programming you will learn with actuarial science. Python you should learn. SQL you should learn. Okay, these are the few. Visual Basics, only a few companies require. Leave this for last. Okay. Okay. Now I am in CA intermediate level. Can I do CB1 and CB2? For you, CB1 and CB2 will be very easy. Okay, so any finance student that has learned accounts up to second year will find CB1 very easy. Up to 90% course is same, but remember that is UK accounts. So there will be some changes in how to solve it. There will be some changes in accounting standards and other stuff. So you have to go through the course properly and figure out how do we write the examination. Like in IFOA now, CB1 and CB2 both are on MCQ based paper. I don't know exactly how or how you would convert accounts paper into MCQ paper, but they are going to conduct the papers as MCQ based papers. Can BSc IT be pursued along with actuarial science by a commerce student? BSc IT, I think you're talking about information technology. Okay, so yes, definitely. As I said, you can go for BTech as well. There is no problem. See, what happens is, if you are, let's say, going for engineering or some BSc information technology, computer science, or something like that, you will have good knowledge or good aptitude for learning softwares. Not necessarily knowledge, but at least a good aptitude. So that helps. If my company works a lot with Python, a lot with statistical softwares, if I'm not getting a BSc statistics, I would prefer a BTech or a BSc information technology or this kind of stuff. If I clear 8 exams along with my graduation, will it be fine, or I will be considered overqualified? This happens sometimes. Although there are companies that take people with 8 examinations, okay, but I would suggest first 6 examinations is, the limit. You should not go beyond that. Of course, the 7th examination, the what do we say, CB3 is of no value. You can do that, so you can say first 7 examinations, good enough. 8 examinations, some companies might refrain from hiring you, because what happens is, you right now in actuarial industry, a person with 1 or 2 years of experience is very highly valued. So you might learn from a particular company. See, what happens is, when a company hires you as a fresher, as a intern or as a fresher, they are teaching you a lot. They are hiring people, or they are you can say a higher level person, a senior, is giving their time to teach you something, and also they are paying you money for that, right? So for the first 6 months, for the first 1 year, they are paying you to learn, and not only you, they are paying at least one more person to teach you that. So they are paying 2% so that you learn new skills, correct? And after 1 year or after 2 years of learning your job, you will switch, because you have 8 papers or you have 9 papers qualified, and you will switch to a new company that will value you for your 9 papers as well as 2 years of experience, correct? So that is why people feel like we will train you, and when it comes for us to reap the benefits, you will switch to some other company. So that is why they try to hire a person with about 6 papers, 4 papers, 6 papers, and not more than that. Okay, it's not that no company will hire you. There will always be companies that would be looking for good amount of knowledge. Like, let's say, if I'm talking about a general insurance company or an investment company, these kind of companies would require higher level of knowledge, and they may go for a person who have cleared 8 papers. See, and one more thing, it is disadvantageous for you as well. Let's say you sign a bond with a company that you will not leave them for the next 3 years. Now, most of the company has some study policy where if you clear a particular paper, they will increase your salary. Okay, so let's say there are up to 50,000, 1 lakh rupees salary is usually increased. So if a person goes with, let's say, 4 papers cleared, and you go with 8 papers cleared, in those 3 years, this person would clear the other 4 papers, and their salary would go up by, let's say, 2 lakh rupees. And you with 8 papers would be stuck with the same salary. So let's say you start with 6 lakh rupees. Within 2 years the person will go up to 8 lakh rupees, and because you did not clear any other additional paper, you will be stuck with 6 lakh rupees for doing the same work. That is disadvantage for you. Okay. Again, it depends on company to company. Some companies do not give any incentive in terms of salary, but a lot of companies do. Okay. So we talked about the India fees. Now, S.MONK Institute, we are starting our first batch for September November examination, September December examination. Let's say we are starting from 9th April. Okay, so we'll have two batches. We'll have a weekend batch, we will have a weekday batch. The weekend batch is going to be offline and online, so you can come to the Ville Parle branch for the lecture. We will be conducting from there, and we will also be streaming the same thing online. Okay, online live. And weekday batch would be online only. Okay, so these are the specific timings of the weekend batch and weekday batch. For your first subject, I always recommend that if you can join offline or live online, you should always join that and not go for the recorded lectures. For later on, if you feel like you understand that teacher's teaching, you can go for recorded lectures for later on subjects. But at least for your first subject, you should go for live lectures. Okay. It can be online, it can be offline. It depends on your preference. Okay. So on 9th April, we will be conducting demo lecture. That means even if you have not registered with us, even if you have not joined with us, you will be allowed to sit, and later on you can decide whether you want to join with S.MONK or not. Okay, so at least join us for the demo lectures. For CM1 it would be 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. and for CS1 it is going to be 12 to 2 p.m. Okay, so this is weekend batch. You can come on the in our what do we say, Ville Parle center for offline lectures, or you can join online. Okay, if you have any other question, let me know. Fees, S.MONK fees. So for CM1, fees is 28,000, CS1 23,000. This would include everything. It would include book, it would include the material that would be required, that is book, assignments, past paper questions, everything that would be given to you. Later on we have CM2, that is 23,000, CS2 28,000, CB1 18,000 and CB2 18,000. So yes, you can pay fees in installment. Currently, if you are joining by next week, we are offering 10% early bird discount. So to know about it or to register for the examination, not examination, register for the classes that are starting on 9th, you can contact the number down here, right? Please note down that number. That is the office number. You can contact, you can WhatsApp, or you can call that, or Telegram that number. So we have options of installment, 2 or 3 installments. You can pay the fees how to join the demo lecture class online, again contact uh, Deepak sir will help you. He will give you the link to join the class. Okay. Is a discount applicable on installment payment? Actually, I'm not sure. We usually offer the discount if you are paying one time, but depending on the situation, we may offer you the discount if you're joining by next week. Okay, so you will have to talk to Deepak sir. Okay, he will guide you through what are the installment, what is applicable on installment, but most likely yes, discount will be still be applied. What time is the demo lecture? So demo lecture, see, when we say demo lecture, does not mean the classes will start later. This is the first lecture of our class as well. Okay, so this is normal lecture. Okay, we are starting our lectures. So for CM1, the demo lecture is going to be 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. on Sunday. And for CS1, it will be 12 to 2 p.m. And regular classes, weekend batch is going to be Saturday, Sunday, and Friday for CM1. This Friday is doubts and it is online only. So you don't need to come to the center. But these 2 days is online and offline. Okay. So 6 to 8:15 p.m. on Saturday and 9 to 11:30 a.m. on Sunday. These are the weekend batch for CM1. For CS1, it would be 3:30 to 4:45 on Saturday and 12 to 2:30 on Sunday. Okay. Weekday batch will start later on, about 15th May or whatever, around that. And usually we conduct the lectures Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. These are the timings for that. Okay, so demo lecture timing, note down here. This is 9:30 to 11:30 or 12 to 2 p.m. Anything else? So I would hope to see you all in the demo lecture. Right. So let's end this session here. And if you have any more questions, you can always ask Deepak sir in the number given below, or you can ask them for my number. I am Pranay Sharma. I teach CM1 and CS1 in S.MONK. Okay, so you can ask for my number if you want any other information, especially if you want to talk about actuarial science. You can ask for my number. Okay, so let's end the session here. How long would classes go on? It will go on till the day of the examination. Okay, so we will conduct the lectures till the day of the examination, but our course ends at least 1 month before the examination. Okay, so in the September, let's say 15th September is the examination date, so then 15th August our course would be definitely over. Okay, then we have regular doubt sessions, we have tests, we have mock tests. Okay. So let's end here. Okay. Bye.